Hello everybody, this is Diane. Thank you for coming back to my channel, Pretty Pink Cottage. And I'm here today to show you a new Christmas journal made with the Raggedy Ann's Wonder book. So I'm going to take the bow off. I made the bow out of a red and white striped fabric, which of course matches the stripes on their stockings. And as I said, this is a vintage Raggedy Ann Wonder book, and it's called Raggedy Ann's Merriest Christmas. It does have some indentations in the book, as happens in a vintage book cover, like that right there, and there's some here. I put some metal corners on because the edges were frayed, so they're on the front and back. The back cover was pretty ugly looking, so I covered it with a scrapbook paper that matches the color of this. And I chose a fabric. It's a Christmas fabric. It has, I think it's mistletoe depicted here, but the color of that also tended to be more teal than green. It had green and teal in it. So I used that for the spine and added some vintage rickrack. And you can see I put a lot of beads on the spine. It's got some little candy beads. They're not candy. They're, you know, you can't eat them. That's a little vintage plastic bell. There's a couple jingle bells. They're vintage. There's a red one and there's a green one. I'll show you. And some star shapes. So it's really fun. And some heart shapes. There's the green bell. So let's look inside. There are, I believe, 13 pages in each signature. So it would be 13 times 4 pages in each signature, and then multiply that by 3, because there are 3 signatures. This is the end paper, Raggedy Ann, and I added that little label. You can write your name on it. This is the front of an Ideals cover that somebody had sent me. She sent me the whole cover. I cut it down just so I could have the dolls here for a pocket. And I added this vintage slide because it has the red design. And then if you see vintage gift seals, they're called, they're stickers that people would use to decorate packages, and the gift tags that had the recipient's name on it, they all came, well, not all the stickers and most of the tags came from 1940s scrapbooks. I added some pom-poms, and I used the dark teal color again because of the teal on the front, and there's some cream colored ones and some lace. There's some heart-shaped lace here. There are a lot of vintage pieces in this journal. That's just a scrap of scrapbook paper. Like I said, I had a lot of the things from the 40s scrapbooks and Christmas cards and lots of things that are old, and they're Christmas themed, and so I can't use them throughout the year, so I put a bunch of them in here. So you get a bunch of vintage stuff in this book. This is from a vintage magazine. Little boy creeping down the stairs. There's mistletoe hanging right there. Thinking it must be time to open presents. It says 5 a.m. and he's saying, "Where's everybody? It must be 9 o'clock." He's so excited. I did some stenciling and stamping, and I added this Raggedy Ann and Andy grosgrain ribbon. It's not Christmas themed, but I did stick a few Raggedy Ann things in there. And this is wrapping paper that's on cardstock, and this is one of the, it's a vintage gift tag, but it's not from the 40s, but this one is from the 40s. Greetings to Eleanor from Pappy. And you can see the scrapbook page that's stuck to the back, but you could still write on that. He's so cute. I love him. And he goes really well with that wrapping paper piece there. This little image is cut from 1940s wrapping paper that was also in those scrapbooks. And I stamped behind him. This is dyed paper. I just clipped on some coasters, some Christmas coasters. with paper clips and with ribbon. And a little embellishment, and I made some of these in one of the videos. I think it's called Small Embellishments. This is punched from a 1940s wrapping paper, and this is a 1958 National, what's it called, Lung Association stamp. They would sell these to raise funds for the National Lung Association, and a merchandise tag. A snowflake patterned doily in red, and I glued it up, and there's a digital ticket here. Now the only digitals that I printed, these were already printed, so most of the pieces, if there aren't a lot of digitals in here, but the ones that are already printed from previous years, just leftovers. But I did have this set of papers. It's called Christmas Plaid. And I remembered that I had gotten it recently from Charm Studio, so I printed it, and I chose just 3 pages of it, one for each signature, that I thought would be great in the Raggedy Ann book. But let me just show you some of them. There are 20 pages, and I just backed them with some lined paper that I have in my digital files. I just think they're so beautiful. And they're very versatile. It's just Christmas plaid with some greenery and some bows. So you can use them in all kinds of Christmas journals. So I selected some that had more of a teal color instead of the green. There are various shades of green. I just think they're so pretty. Charm Studio, and I will link this kit below, but Charm Studio has so many. This one has a teal tint to it. But I do have quite a few kits from Charm that I haven't used yet. Some I have used. Aren't they nice? So obviously that's one of them. And I loved the big bow for the Raggedy Ann journal. This is one of the embellishments that we made on the video. There's a vintage gift seal, and then these pieces are digital. This is fabric. And I clipped some things on some of the pages that can be taken off and used throughout the book. I want to point out this book is pretty full. It's a slight gator mouth. But I couldn't stop putting things in. The story is in here in order. Oops, better move that out of the way. I would rip it with that paper clip behind it. So here I just clipped on a red soda label, a scrap of 1940s red wrapping paper. You can do what you want with that. And this is a digital piece. There's a 1940s Christmas card, and tucked inside it is, this came from the scrapbook. I glued this paper on the back so you can journal on it. And it got a little torn right here, but I had to include it because it was an invitation addressed to the little girl, and it said, "Bring Mother and Daddy to our Christmas party Saturday, December 19th at 2 o'clock. It does not have the year, but the album, the scrapbook that it was in, was from the 40s. And this is the string that was on it. This little girl trying on her ragdoll hat was from the Sears catalog that I got recently from the 1960s, I believe. These papers are copy dyed, and I sprayed them with different colors of ink. And then there are these characters. So if you see things like this, they're kind of embossed, so you can't see that, but it's embossed. And these were sent to me by my friend Virginia, And I thought they were perfect because in the Raggedy Ann stories, she has a lot of interactions with really cute little animal characters. And I just stuck in a flashcard because I like the color, and another scrap with a fabric tab. That looks so much like the plaid papers that I just got. The colors and everything. Perfect. A computer paper, not a digital paper. It's a computer paper that you could print on. And this is another one of the tags, probably from the 70s. I did some fabric flips. And this is from a craft book, a Christmas craft and recipe book with all kinds of projects in it. It's got these paper dolls, and it had some, you'll see some like buildings. So they were patterns for something. And this is a seam binding bias tape. A bias tape with little Santa Clauses printed on it. So here's a little elf paper doll. And an envelope with the airmail design and blue inside. And this is a scrap of pattern paper. It was a little short, so I added a piece to the top. You can add a photo to that or a journal on it. And on the back, I used this little collaged piece as a belly band and stuck a tally card in there. Like I said, I added stuff like this, the card inside and this piece today, and I thought I was done last night. I sewed it all together and did the bead dangle last night. There's a vintage milk cap up here for homogenized pasteurized milk, but it's red and green, so I use that. I used to have some eggnog ones, but I couldn't find them. I think I used them all up. Monopoly money and a little tag in green. And here's another one of those pieces from the woodland characters, and I just put some scraps in there that I cut into tag shapes. This was cut from a Christmas card. It was a beautiful Christmas card, and I can't even describe it. It was a package, looked like a package, and the coloring and the design was so pretty, and it opened up into 4, but it was in terrible shape. It got really damaged, so I cut out pieces that I could and punched out pieces that weren't salvageable. I just punched in smaller circles, and they're just so vivid, the colors. I love them. Here's the other side of the greeting card with another tag inside. This little girl is from the Sears catalog also, and this is vintage wrapping paper. That's a digital. And I used my Raggedy Ann and Andy stamp, even though it's not Christmas themed, because they're wishing each other a Merry Christmas. I made this pocket out of several pieces of fabric and a piece of ribbon. This is a vintage little card. It's almost antique, but it's 1928 with a note on it written to Dear Darling. It's so precious. And a current recipe card with a gingerbread man, some candies. Another little ticket there. Here's one of the banners that we made in the small embellishment video. So these banners were just cut with leftover cardstock, and this piece also. A vintage Santa sticker and 3 vintage star stickers. And this adorable little card from Dougie. And this is cut from the old wrapping paper. I just added a gold doily behind it. And on this paper clip I have some green stamps and this really pretty foil, you can kind of see through that, wrapping paper piece. It's just a little scrap. And I think somebody, I don't know if that came out of the scrapbook. I think Someone had sent me in a Happy Mail a year or so ago some little pieces of scrapbook wrapping paper. That might be from that. This is one of the gift cards from the 40s album, the one that had all the cards for Marie Joy from the ages of 1 to 5. And these are scraps, wrapping paper there. And this came from a Raggedy Ann book. There were a couple pictures in the Raggedy Ann pieces that I had cut out that had winter scenes. So I glued that to cardstock, and it is a pocket. And on this, there's another of the really sweet vintage gift tags and a sticker from the 40s. And that's the first signature. Second signature, I cut this out of a book, and it wasn't, I don't know if it was a Christmas book, but she was so cute in the red and the green, and maybe she got this puppy for Christmas, I don't know. But I loved this picture. So she's on cardstock. There's a recipe, Christmas recipe for holiday pudding. And this is just a flash card with the red square, and I added this really, really cute gift tag. It says, "Hi there," and somebody wrote Eleanor. Look at that really cute font on this card. The Merry Christmas, I love that. And it's from Santa Claus. It was for Eleanor. I did leave some pages with no embellishments, believe it or not. These angels were cut from gift wrap. I stamped behind them, and up there I stamped Joy to the World. A nice music page. I made this little cluster on fabric with a vintage sticker, and these silver stars were cut from a piece of silver that was on the inside of a vintage greeting card. But I glued this on as a little pocket. So there's a little digital tag that I had in my stash, and these little bunnies that came with those cutouts from Virginia. Virginia is no longer with us, but I'm still using some of the things that she sent me. And I appreciate them. I value them. There's a Santa Claus stamp, another sticker or ticket that was printed. This has a little bit more of the teal color in it. And on this page, this is a school reader page, and it has a Christmas story up here. And on this page, it's math, but they're silver bells and gold bells. So they did a kind of a Christmas theme for their math. From a green stamp book. You can, use these pieces wherever you want to. You could turn that into a pocket because it's on a nice sturdy page. And this is a little page from a 1963 desk calendar for the December page. And another little cutout Christmas girl. Look at this adorable 1940s card. And a library. It's not exactly a card, it's a paper. And these are vintage stickers. They're not from the 40s, but they are vintage. And this star is cut from wrapping paper, and the angel, you see he's got some stars here, so I added some stars up there. This green star is from the scrapbook. I had a really hard time getting them out. I was not successful getting very many of them out of the scrapbook. But this one was an unused one that I got a box. I got a box of them at the flea market. So that one's from the 40s. I don't know how old this one is. There's another one of those critters. It's a ladybug, but it's a man, I believe, with a stack of packages. So cute. And I glued him to green cardstock because he kind of blended in with this polka dot paper. There's another flash card with an embossed snowflake. And this is one of my stencils. It's the sign for cents because You know, we spend a lot of coins at Christmas time. It's another gift tag. This fabric flip is more Raggedy Ann themed. These were fabrics that I had with my Raggedy Ann stuff. And the grosgrain ribbon. And red stars on that paper. And more of that elf paper doll. This is from a 1966 Simplicity Sewing Pattern book. This little girl, and I added a gold doily behind her. And there's a belly band here with a vintage Christmas card. An unused one. And another milk tab. I cut some of the strips with my curvy paper cutter. This looks like it came off a vintage card or gift wrap, but it's probably a reproduction from a vintage card or gift wrap, but it was printed in a magazine. I cut it out and glued it to cardstock. Just tucked a couple pieces of leftover paper in there. This little snowman is cut from the old gift wrap. And this one has a piece of old gift wrap. Love that. I stenciled the stars behind it and stamped a lined piece so you can write on it. This goes that way. And this was from another book that featured all these birds dressed up singing, and it just reminded me so much of some of the friends that Raggedy Ann makes on her adventures. So I attached it to that math page from the children's book, so that's a book page. And then this page was boring. It had nothing to do with Christmas. And I put this like a handmade kind of a texture of pretty paper with these beautiful trees on top of that. This has a little piece of candy. I cut this out with my Cricut and glued it together. It's been in my stash, just bouncing around for several years, I think. And there's a really cute Santa Claus stamp, and he has stars here, so I added some more stars. Piece of washi tape. This is a vintage napkin with a wreath on it. It's a nice sturdy fabric. And there's another recipe, sparkling jellies, and that same recipe card. Another song page. I made this into a pocket. And there's a piece of lined green paper. It was sticky at the top. It was a sticky pad. So I added that paper and this list paper with the gingerbread house. And here's another banner cluster with a vintage sticker and a vintage snowflake sequin. I did this, well, I did this one on the video. That was the wide one that I made. And here's the other winter scene picture from the other Raggedy Ann book, and there's a picture on both sides. Here's another deer from the scrapbook of wrapping paper. It was a scrapbook of greeting cards, but some of the pages the woman had saved wrapping paper and gift tags and even some paper tablecloth pieces. There's another page from that same book with the girl and the puppy, so I think this may have been a Christmas story because these children are all wearing red pajamas. It might be Christmas morning. There's another of the green lined papers I stamped on it. And this list says naughty or nice. And the third signature has another image from an old magazine. I've got to glue this sequin down better. It's not sticking, and yeah, I'll have to glue that. Anyway, this is a mom and dad decorating the tree, and she's saying, It's 3 in the morning and the children's presents aren't wrapped yet. Do we dare stop for coffee, Ed? And there's a green bingo sheet in here with a stamped tab. Goes in there. And another snowman on skis from the wrapping paper. Another coaster. Another merchandise tag cluster with a stamp, postage stamp. Now this, I think, is going to be just a decoration because I put it in there and the glue was still wet down here. And I tried to get it out. I'm going to try one more time because I was in the other room. I didn't have this little tool. But, you know, doilies are delicate. So, yeah, I don't dare. I don't want to tear the doily. So he's a decoration in there. But you can see how cute he is. This is a gift tag set. It was for Marie Joy, that little girl. And this little sticker was stuck on the end of it, holding it into the scrapbook. He's so cute. Another fabric cluster with a little toy soldier that came from a vintage, it was on a parachute, a little thin plastic parachute. And 1940s gift tag. There's another one for Eleanor. We've had Marie Joy and Eleanor. Some stamps there. Here's Santa in his sleigh and a piece of gold. I think it might have come from a greeting card, from inside a greeting card, and a piece of wrapping paper with Santa. And this came out of that old scrapbook. So we've got Santa and his sleigh here. We've got Santa here. So he's all over these pages. This is an adorable card. I love those little faces. And this is not one that was doubled, so I couldn't make a pocket out of it. This was in the scrapbook. Santa with his fuzzy beard. Another of the woodland animals pieces. Another computer paper. Fabric flip, and this is the Santa's Workshop from that craft book. And the post office. It's just a plain card to write on. And another belly band with this adorable little vintage card. Lots of vintage in this. And a vintage milk cap. This one is kind of a black and cream and red. This was in a more modern magazine. Little patchwork tree with a button on top with the red lines around it. So I cut it out and put it on cardstock. Added some journaling pieces, tally card. And another tag for Eleanor with a black Scotty dog. And here's the back of that card. It has pictures on the back too. But the scrapbook left pieces of scrapbook on it, the pulpy paper from the scrapbook. So I just added a couple journaling spots, some washi tape, and a star from the wrapping paper. Another tag for Marie Joyce. This pocket was made out of a handkerchief, and this is a newer postcard, and I covered up the back of it. I think it was from the 90s. You can write on that. And this list says, "My never-ending Christmas list." It's just a little leftover piece of cardstock there. And another banner with a Santa sticker and some stars. A piece of vintage gift wrap. And in this paper clip is another piece of leftover paper, patterned paper, and another calendar page for December from 1964. And this little gift enclosure tag, which was, I don't know what year it was, but he's so cute. I got this at the flea market. It wasn't with any of the scrapbook stuff. There's another adorable wrapping paper piece from the scrapbook and a tally card. And another of the woodland animals, tuck spots, and an antique postcard. And the last pocket, except for the one on the back cover, is this pretty girl that I cut from that pattern catalog, 1966. I like the red and the green, and she's got a little gift in her hand, and it's on just ivory cardstock that I inked. And this came out of a book. I didn't do anything to the back. You can put some fabric on the, or not fabric, paper on the back to journal on. And I had a guest check, and I added another 2 of those candies cut from my Cricut, and I think they're all used up now. And on this I put a glassine bag with a piece from a vintage paper tablecloth that was in that scrapbook, and this was also cut from that tablecloth. And I love this. You know, it was a nice, good sized Santa face, but I had to cut him, and I just like the way it's like he's peeking out there. And I put a little side pocket with this scrap I wanted to use. There's a playing card and a tally card. And my signature. So that's it. There's a lot in there. There's a lot to look at in there. So I hope you liked it. I had a lot of fun putting it together. And it will come with just a few elements. Oh, here they are. All I have to put with it are some scraps of some of the papers that I used, and a couple of playing cards. And I don't know, I might throw a couple of things in there, but you'll have a few extra things to go with this. So this, I always forget to say when it's going to be in my shop when I put the video up. But I think I can say that this will be in my shop at 6 p.m. Tonight. And you're going to see this on Thursday, because today's Wednesday. So you're going to see this on Thursday, and it will be in my shop at 6 p.m. on Thursday, October 19th. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. So yes, this is done, and the next one will be the Domestic Arts Journal. So I'm looking forward to getting started on that. But I think first I'm going to list some stuff in my shop, like vintage Christmas cards and postcards, and maybe I'll have some Christmas kits, some journal kits ready to go in my shop. So I'm going to work on that for the rest of the afternoon, and I'll be seeing you soon. Have a creative day. Bye-bye.